It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that one and done train. Jerome Tang might be out at Kansas State, but we're glad you're in with us right here on One and Done, your fast break of college basketball information. My name is Jay Heinrich. I'm the conductor of the aforementioned One and Done train, joined tonight on your viewing device by a man known around here as El Capitan himself, at MC Holland 34 on X, the comma chaser himself, Mr. Mike Holland. It's news and notes time here on the show on a Sunday. The OGs in the chat know that means you get an opening possession from me and Mike. You get everyone's favorite segment in college basketball, the mid-major minute. And then to wrap up the show, we'll bring you our top 25 power rankings, which are critically acclaimed galaxy-wide. So you're going to want to stick around until the end of the show for that. Hit the like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. Hop in that chat. Let's get this show on the road with the captain's opening possession.
All right, here we are, man. Very newsworthy week, so this one might go a minute or two over, but Florida continuing to flex their muscle, getting the big win over Kentucky, their fifth straight SEC win, 92-83. We talked about the Gator train, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. Jay, you asked me about, what's the upside? Well, they were shooting 29% from three. The upside is whether or not they can make some outside shots, and they shot 36% from three against Kentucky. So if they get anywhere near your Heinrich line, it is going to be lights out for a lot of opponents. And Xavier Lee was awesome, 22 points, 4 for 7 from deep. Condon Chinyelu Houck, they dominated the glass, plus 11. So their starting lineup starting to get going, and they have the depth pieces right now. So, yeah, really liking what we're seeing from Florida. For Kentucky, you're going to find it tough when Aberdeen and Owe combined for 12 for 35 shooting. That's not going to work. Those guys have to shoot it well for them to win these big-time matchups. Still, they've had a brutal schedule, up to 7th in the country on Ken Pompin's strength of schedule. So for them to be 8-4, I think it's a solid job from Pope here. And then next, I want to touch on Wisconsin. Really big week for them. Obviously, they got that huge win over Michigan. But this week, man, they were coming off this brutal loss in overtime at Indiana. And, they got to be feeling themselves. They beat Illinois on the road Tuesday, and then Friday they put the belt to on Michigan State on Friday. So Nick Boyd, he's been spectacular. Nolan Winter's been one of the best efficiency bigs in the country. They're going to be one of those teams that's in the dance. It's going to be annoying to really knock them out because they're so good offensively. If they just get a couple of stops, they could definitely make like a ceiling Elite Eight type run. But really, it's just if they're going to make any stops. And speaking of people getting stops, Louisville ripping off their 5th straight win. A lot of that has to do with their defensive effort, but Michael Brown Jr. is also healthy and looking unstoppable. He dropped 45 in a 40-point blowout win on Monday. It's just they don't profile as a team that should be getting stops, but if Kelsey and his squad can get those stops, kind of like a Wisconsin, they're going to be a tough out as well. So we'll keep looking for effort on the defensive end from both of those teams, Jay.
No doubt about it. That is the captain's opening possession. I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you to hop in that chat like our guy Darren did, asking if today is the day that we have enough ammo to put Florida at number 1. Darren thinks we might push the SEC bias a little bit on this show. You're going to have to stick around at the end of the show to find out where we rank Florida. I will say this, they are not number 1. I don't think that's spoiling anything. So, yeah. But
there's a new number 1.
To see you there.
That's a spoiler.
Darren, there is a new number 1. Oh, okay. All right. That's a tease there for you, ladies and gents, broskies and broskets. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Hop in the chat like Darren did. All right. My opening possession here on One and Done. Arizona stumbling at the start of a brutal stretch run. We talked last week that Arizona arguably has the toughest remaining schedule in the country. Well, they dropped 2 games this past week by a combined 7 points. That Kansas loss and then the OT loss to Texas Tech. Unfortunately, a little bit of salt in the wound here, as they say. Koa Pete out with a lower body injury in that Tech game. Such a hockey term right there, lower body injury. But Koa Pete, who knows how long he's going to be gone. But the biggest thing for them this past week, in my opinion, was that lack of production by star point guard Jaden Bradley. They got to figure it out quickly because no rest for the weary, Mike. They get BYU on Wednesday and then on the road in Houston on Saturday. I like Caleb Love, but was it kind of cursed since he was in the building the other night on Saturday? I don't know. Who knows? That's my guy, but either way, I'm still probably picking Arizona to win the whole thing. Next, part of my opening possession, Purdue bouncing back, Mike. It was just a few weeks ago the Boilermakers had lost their third straight on the road at Indiana, and this past week they steered that ship into calmer waters, reeling off their fourth straight win with an overtime victory at Nebraska, the previous darlings of the college basketball world. Have we forgotten about Nebraska? No, they're a really good team, Mike, but Purdue got that win against them. And then, of course, cover your ears, Cam, the godfather of Iowa bowling, if you're around, but Purdue got that blowout win on the road at Iowa on Saturday. Osterkloff, of course, bouncing back nicely for the Boilermakers, and they're getting some contributions off the bench as well. Looking forward, they had a huge matchup at home this Tuesday against Michigan. We'll see if they can keep the ball rolling. And then lastly, in my opening possession, the injury bug, Mike, hitting some big names and some big programs. Richie Saunders out for the year and Caleb Wilson out for the next month. We'll start with Saunders here. BYU took overtime to survive Colorado on Saturday, but a part of that was because they lost Saunders in the first minute of the game. It looked like a torn ACL for the sharp shooter. Such a significant loss for the Cougars, who are already kind of treading, I don't want to say treading water, but they were feeling the grinds of this long Big 12 season. And now their depth is what's getting worn down with Saunders out for the year. We obviously wish Richie a speedy recovery. We'll see how BYU manages without him moving forward. And lastly, Caleb Wilson, a huge loss for North Carolina after fracturing his left hand, but it does look like he'll make a return for the tournament. Their ceiling, Mike, is pretty much tied to Wilson's health, I believe. So we also wish that young man a speedy recovery as well. All right, let's look at the chat before we move along here. Daryl Cook getting in there. It's getting where you can't blame Florida's opponents for getting beat. Yeah, man. I mean, we've talked about, we've sung their praises plenty on this show, Daryl, and we're happy that you are representing Gator Nation in the chat. Definitely good to see you in there. And Darren, this is not UNT Green. We can just pretend that it actually go Mean Green. There we go. We'll just say it for the chat. Hop in there with Daryl and Darren as we move along now to everyone's favorite segment in all of college hoops. It's time once again for the Mid-Major Minute.
All right, on this week's edition of the Mid-Major Minute, we start in the MAAC, and a little bit of a surprise. We're starting with the Merrimack Warriors, who are 14-2 in conference. 2 huge wins this week against Marist and Quinnipiac, and then, like they're running this 6-game winning streak to take a 2-game lead over St. Peter's with 4 games to go. Just an incredible job by Coach Joe Gallo. You lose a player like Bud Clark to the Big East, and you just kind of figure out how to get it done. That's what these mid-major programs are having to do on a year-to-year basis. Freshman guard Kaveri Kennedy, he's been one of the top mid-major guards in the country. He's averaging 17.5 points, 4.5 boards, and 4.5 assists. They are favored to win out on Ken Palm, but this Friday night's game against Siena, who is 11-5, is going to be very critical. Next, we'll move on to the America East and another surprise team, the NJIT Highlanders, 10-2 in conference play. Look, they only won 6 games total all year last year, and now they shockingly sit atop the America East with an impressive 6-game win streak. Like Merrimack, Coach Grant Billmeyer lost his best player to the Big East, Tyreek Francis, who's now with Rutgers. Still found a way to give his squad a chance this season, with 4 games to go for a regular season title. It's been impressive with this streak. They got a road win on January 31st at perennial A East power Vermont. So NJIT has a half-game lead over UMBC, but they have to play UMBC and Vermont in 2 of those final 4. So big dreams for this NJIT squad, but they do have to play 2 teams that are definitely worthy of claiming the America East crown. Then we'll finish up with the Big West, and it's stacked up at the top. You got Hawaii 10-4, UC Irvine 10-4, UC Santa Barbara 10-5, and CSUN at 9-5 with 5 to 6 games to go for these teams. So an awesome race once again in this conference. It's going to come down to the wire in this one. And that regular season champions, no guarantee come conference tournament time, just like all these mid-majors. You got to win out in the conference tournament in order to get that automatic bid. So that'll wrap up tonight's edition of the Mid-Major Minute.
Was that Bad Bunny that we had in the studio right there? I couldn't tell. Coming out of the mid-major minute. Good stuff there, Mike. We always love a good mid-major minute. And we always love a lively live chat. So hop in there with Daryl and Darren. Hit the like and subscribe buttons. If you have not already, show Mike some love for that mid-major minute segment. Show us more love than Jerome Tang is being shown by Kansas State right now. I had some harsh words for his team. And then they said, I tell you what, Jerome, you're going to go instead. Okay. With cause, apparently. Good luck with that one as they fight out that battle for $18 million or whatever it is. But what you don't have to fight about are the one and done top 25 power rankings. And that's the point of our Sunday show that we are currently at. So as we get there, hit all those buttons, like, subscribe, notification bell, so you don't miss a minute of our college basketball coverage, whether it's DFS shows, whether it's live reactions to games, whether it's a little bit of a Mountain West simulcast going on that we're looking at trying to find this week. Make sure you push all those buttons so you don't miss a minute of that college basketball coverage. Yeah, he kind of did. I mean, he just had to, sometimes you got to know when to go, and he just helped himself out right there. Good. So there, Darren, we know you're taking notes, and we appreciate that. All right, let's get it going here. The power rankings, Mike. Top 25 here on one and done. And in their obligatory number 25 spot, it's Miami of Ohio, who will continue to be there until they find a way to lose, which they have not yet. Credit to them, 25-0 at this point. BYU 24, Vanderbilt and Louisville at 23 and 21, respectively. Two teams returning to the top 25 that we did not have ranked last week. And we talked about Louisville in the Open, but Mike, how about the Commodores? Got wins at Auburn and then Saturday at home against the Aggies. We like how Jalen Washington's been playing.
Yeah, he's been playing awesome. Devin McLaughlin also looking really good. So, yeah, got to pay attention to Vandy. Tyler Tanner's had a pretty special season, but Miami of Ohio, they just keep winning, man. So I know the AP poll, to keep moving them up. Them and St. Louis. We moved St. Louis up a few spots here. Obviously the A10. It's strong enough for two bids. I don't think it's going to happen just with how the other conferences are shaping up. But would actually love to see that, man. And then BYU, they still have the Bonsa. Obviously losing Saunders that's huge loss for them. So. Yeah, just more on the plate of AJ DeBonsa, but I definitely would not want to play them as a 6 or a 7 seed, especially if you're on like that 2-3 line. Would not be a lot of fun. We'll see how they kind of handle that because they don't have a ton of depth, Jay. They're going to have to get somebody going in the next, couple of weeks here if they really want to make a deep run, because I think that's probably off the table with those Saunders.
Daryl letting us know they feel like we've got Miami. We're not showing them enough love. I don't know, man. Like I think they're plenty pleased to be right there, rounding out the one and done top 25. If you ask me, what will it take? A minor miracle. We'll see.
It will take a strength of conference non-con game against anybody in like the top 50, but that's not going to happen. So.
Yeah, that's all right. But for now, they'll be at 25. But moving on now to numbers 20 through 16 on our top 25 power rankings here on one and done. Kentucky at 20, St. John's at 19, Alabama at 18, Nebraska at 17, and the Razorbacks of Arkansas at 16. St. John's got a little bit of a old scuffle there. What's it called? A tussle, a mollywhopping, whatever it is, against Providence the other day that made the headlines, right? But more importantly, they got that win and now have won 11 in a row. A very impressive run there on. Kentucky dropping a couple of spots after losing to Florida. Was that enough to make Florida in the top 5? I don't think so. But either way, Kentucky dropping a couple of spots. But that kind of feels right for Kentucky, like a 4 or 5 in the tournament. This sort of feels like where they belong.
It's been a pretty successful year for them, to be honest. Like to be where they're at without Jalen Lowe and Jaden Quaintance, big
time.
The 7th strength of schedule, it's pretty pretty good stuff, but the Kentucky fans will never be satisfied with that. And also, don't look now, Alabama's reeled off 4 straight. The Vidiaco train has left the station, but you're supposed to get these wins against Ole Miss and South Carolina, Jay. We'll see. They get Arkansas on Wednesday. He's quietly handling their business. So I can't wait. We'll have that matchup to look forward to. And then Nebraska continuing the old fall, losing a tough one at home to Purdue. It doesn't get any easier, Jay. Cornhuskers, man, going to Iowa on Tuesday. So we'll see. We'll see, man.
Big time. It's okay, Darren. We know. Hey, honestly, though, look at some of these conferences coming up in the top 15 here as we roll along to the top 15. Of course, everybody has already hit the like and subscribe buttons as we move along here on the show. 15, Michigan State. 14, Virginia. 13, North Carolina. Number 12, Texas Tech. And number 11, Gonzaga. I mean, it hasn't exactly been the best couple of weeks for our guy, Tom Izzo. They've lost 3 out of their last 4. But, I mean, you talked about what would it take for Miami, Ohio to move up from 25 and just to get a quality win against somebody, right? And that's just not in the cards, right? But 8 wins over KenPom top 50 teams, and that 1 win out of their last 4 games was Illinois, right? So
yeah.
Keeping Michigan State in the top 15. Virginia picked up their 6th straight, speaking of win streaks, and should be 7 straight against Georgia Tech before a big matchup against Miami this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, looking forward to that, man. We were wondering, which of Clemson and Virginia were going to hang on and which was going to fall off. Clemson obviously falling off. Virginia keeping it going. So we'll see if this matchup with Miami, man. And then you talked about Caleb Wilson, right? North Carolina got to bump them back a couple of spots in the power rankings just without him. Obviously, they got the win against Pitt. They didn't have him or Basar, who was out with illness, but a rough week coming up. They go to NC State and to Syracuse, 2 teams that are basically scratching and clawing around the bubble. So 2 dangerous games without Caleb Wilson for North Carolina. And the Texas Tech, just an awesome week for them, obviously. And Zach's holding on to beat a tough Santa Clara squad, Jay. We're probably staring at a 3-bid WCC. Santa Clara is right there. It's close for them. So, yeah, this bubble's about to heat up, man. We'll probably bring our bubble talk. Soon. So
bubble talk.
Probably we'll add a segment next week as we start to do more things and expand out as we head to the tournament.
Are you teasing bringing back the bubble talk? Oh my gosh. Let's do it. I love all the teases today on One and Done. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Don't miss anything that we're doing here on the channel. Let's move on to our top 10, which is where you'll find Florida at number 9, surging as their guard play has arrived. Mike, Kansas got the big win at Arizona, but found at Ames a little bit tougher this weekend. They're going to remain at 10. No change there for the Jayhawks. But here's the Florida segment, ladies and gents. We got Daryl ready in the chat to let us know what he thinks. Mike, what are your thoughts on Florida and the rest of this tier?
Oh, we finally got an SEC team back in the top 10. Oh, no. One and done SEC lovers here. Illinois bouncing back nicely. They're at number 8. Got a win over Indiana after the dropping 2 overtime games. Look, I'm not really sure what's going on with Iowa State Cyclones, Jay. Lost at TCU, and then they beat down Kansas. So they're going to get dropped down a few spots. TCU just not a good team, but I mean, it happens right on the road in the Big 12. So we'll see. It just has more to do with what other teams are doing around them, right? That they dropped 4 spots. And UConn's just cruising. They're like St. John's. They're literally in cruise control until they play each other in the Big East. That's just the way it is in that conference right now. They get this matchup February 25th. So we'll see St. John's traveling to UConn on that date.
Debbie in the chat saying Florida has the best 3 men down low. Do you like their big 3 over Michigan's?
No.
Hey, they're good, man.
I know. Yeah.
That's a really good. That's a really
Think
good.
Think about that matchup, Jay. Think about that matchup. It's Lindeborg against Hauk, right? Like you're getting Morez Johnson against Alex Condon. And then you're getting Chinyelu, who basically gets 20 rebounds every single game, going up against Ed Imara. So Could we? Come on, man. Like, can we get that in the Final Four? Come on. Like,
I'd love it. I hope we do. I hope we do. And I love that the chat is on fire. Keep it rolling as we move on now to our top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth. Anything you say, I say fifth. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Purdue re-entering our top 5 after their nice week. They're sitting at number 5. And at number 4, Duke bounced back from that UNC loss with double-digit wins over Pitt and Clemson. Mike, what about those two? Anything else you wanted to add to those two teams? And then what about the rest of this top 5?
Yeah, I mean, here comes the Purdue train. So we'll see. Their floor this year I just feel like it's a lot lower than some of these teams, obviously, that we have in the top 10. But obviously, they're handling business. And Braden Smith at the guard position, you love that guard play, Jay. So nice to have the best point guard in the country on your team. Duke's just doing everything in the ACC. They're kind of in a tier of their own. You got Arizona, man. Like, this is going to be fascinating to see what we do with them. They take their first couple of losses, right? We drop them back a couple of spots, and then you talk about their schedule coming up. I mean, it's brutal. So we're going to see what's going to happen with Arizona. Houston's won 6 straight, to anyone's surprise, right? Look, their week that's coming up basically going to determine their 1 seed status. They go to Iowa State tomorrow, which we'll be live reacting to, and then they're hosting Arizona Saturday. So pretty much on the line here for those 3 of those teams that are in our top 10, 2 in our top 5, and then Michigan obviously taking over the top spot. Look, this road game at Purdue on Tuesday, definitely going to be watching that one, man. That's going to be an awesome matchup. But then they also get this game against Duke in a neutral court game. So that'll be fun this weekend. So potential big movement in our top 10 next Sunday, Jay, as we tease potentially at our bubble watch too.
Ooh, loving it. Hey, and I'm loving our new Florida friends in the chat. I'm absolutely digging it. How much participation we're getting. Keep it rolling, and we're happy to see you active in the chat here on One and Done. Mike, I told you last week when we had when we had Houston at 5. Like, if you would have told me that Houston is the number 1 team in the country in our in a top 25 setting, I don't even blink about it, right? And if they go through this week and take care of their business, it's very possible that we're talking about them as the number 1 team in our top 25 the next time we have this conversation. So that's just a really, really good basketball team. And any of these teams at the top have an opportunity to really make, their title aspirations known for sure. One more as we get out of here, Mike, before we close up shop. I'm loving this question from Daryl. Your favorite rematch in the tournament, what would you want to see? Florida, Duke, Houston, or Duke, or Florida and Houston? Mike, we saw a couple of those games down there in San Antonio in the stadium last year. If you had to pick one of those for this year's rosters, what would tickle? What would tickle your fancy the most?
Man, just with how both teams are playing right now, like if it was today, I would say Florida, Houston. Just because you got the rematch from last year's national title game, like all the storylines there, how they're playing right now, obviously. And yes, Johnny K is back. He made it in the final minute to see Johnny's being ranked 19th in our power rankings. Missed him being 19th, Johnny, but they're there. Go back and rewatch.
Yeah. Better late than never, but never late is better, Johnny K. Good to see you in the chat always. It's been good. It's been a good night here on One and Done. We always love the liveliest live chat in all of college hoops, which tonight included Johnny K, Darren, Daryl, Debbie, and who else was in the Napsy Hustle hop in there earlier. The guy pushing person. He's back at Napsy Hustle over there on X. And shout out to our guy Eric the Blue also for getting the studio ready. Shout out to everybody for hopping in the chat as well. Make sure you push the like and subscribe buttons, notification bells as well. Because Mike said a little bit ago, we are bringing you a live reaction to a game tomorrow. We got something else coming on Tuesday, whether it's another live reaction or some Mountain West streaming. We're working on getting that link all settled up here on the channel so we can stream a game to you on Tuesday, simulcast it. Friday, we're bringing DFS. It's rolling. It's time right now. It's the season of One and Done, and we're happy that we have swept you up into our web of winning in our hoop-headedness as I just made up a word right there. That's what we're doing right here on One and Done. So thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Good to see you. Push all those buttons. Shout out to that man on the screen with me tonight, El Capitan himself, at MC Holland 34 on X, the OG Money Mike, Mr. Mike Holland. We'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Tell somebody that you love them. My name's JAYHEINRICH. Come again. We'll see you.